penalty in a death penalty case, if you save them from the death penalty, you won. Okay, they had an untenable task of being under a microscope for 4 months. I mean, it is just. I mean, I did a relatively high-profile trial. It was a 2-month trial, and I had to have IV transfusions afterwards. I couldn't imagine what they went through in
oh my
this thing.
God. Give me your take, Dwane, of the prosecutor, Juan Martinez. He has this fan page now that has thousands and thousands of likes on Facebook. He's becoming very popular, and there's memes with popular things about Juan Martinez. He's definitely made himself into a household name. But what is your personal opinion about Mr. Martinez?
You know what? Mr. Martinez is a very, very good attorney. He is. I don't agree with a lot of his strategies. Like, I don't agree with him shocking the victims to get sobbing in front of the jury so that to get his wins. Sometimes I think that he sees every problem as a nail, and his only tool in his toolbox is a hammer. And he's relatively successful at what he does. But again, if you're a prosecutor, you should win 95% of your cases, because the cases that there aren't winnable, you shouldn't be taken to trial. So he's very proficient at what he does. I think that part of the reason that this thing went so long and we did it again was part of Juan Martinez wanted to get the death penalty. I think that as an attorney, I can generally steer my clients in a direction. He probably could have talked the victim's family out of going for the death penalty the second time if he would explain to them that that for the next 20 years they're going to get calls that she's going to get put to death, and then it's going to get stayed, and then it's going to go to the Supreme Court, and then it's going to come back, and there's going to be another death. If he would have explained the process to them, I don't think they would have wanted to go for the death penalty the second time.
And Bremner, what's your take of the prosecutor, Juan Martinez, in your personal opinion?
Well, of course, I'm an ex-prosecutor, and I do defense now, civil and criminal, but, I believe the job of the prosecutor is to see that justice is done. And that having been said, I was never rabid. I might have been aggressive or a little bit of a hellcat sometimes as a prosecutor, but in my view, I thought he was too aggressive in his questioning, and just physically so, too. And I think that can backfire sometimes. I admire him. I know he's got a huge fan base, and I know he's got zeal, and I know he's got conviction. It's just some of his style at least didn't resonate with me. But again, I'm from Seattle, and, we probably have kind of a different culture here with respect to the way we try cases. But, overall, I'd give him, an A-. Some of the aggressive tactics, including, showing pictures to make the family members of the victim react in front of the jury, is not something that I would emulate.
What about Dwane, the way he treated Alice Lavette and maybe Dr. Samuels? A little harsh on some of the witnesses, would you say?
He was, and had I been the defense attorney, there would have been screaming matches at the podium. You got to protect your witnesses a little better, And I saw him pull a tactic off. It was outside the presence of the jury. They called a witness, and the witness took the stand, and Juan asked him one question, and the guy said, "Well, I think." He goes, "What do you mean you think?" I just started screaming at him.
Yeah.
And it's the old theory of, if you smack them right up front right away, they're going to be scared the rest of the time. And he tried to intimidate the witness, and I would have come out of my shoes. I wouldn't have stood for it. I would have, I probably may have gotten thrown out of the court because I would have been screaming at him, and we would have had serious problems. And you never know how that would turn out in the end. But it's just one of those deals.
And you saw some of his testimony against Alice and Dr. Samuels. Do you think that he went a little too over the line?
Well, yeah. I mean, something we learned as prosecutors, we had Irving Younger, who is a very well-noted, well-thought-of prosecutor, is 10 rules for cross-examination. And one of those was, don't argue as a witness. Another one was, don't become adversarial. Another one is don't raise your voice. Another one is when you think you've got enough from the witness, sit down and shut up. And I think sometimes those rules should have been followed. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
you can cross-examine in a normal tone. You can cross-examine in a tone that shows, professionalism, and still do very, very well in cross-examining a witness with eliciting, their bias, facts against them, all kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, you can do a lot too. Like when they're answering the question, sometimes I'll walk away, like I'll walk over to turn my back to them, like I don't care what you're saying, and you can roll your eyes. I mean, you can do a lot of things. You can do a lot of things to show the jury that this person's an idiot without screaming at them and calling them an idiot. It's called finesse.
Right.
No question. All right, I think we have a caller, area code 267. Please state your name and what you want to talk about. 267, it's your turn.
Hi. No, I didn't have a question. I was just listening. I was just listening to everything that was being